Hey, it's Ryan, and before we start today's show, I want to tell you about an exciting new partnership. Gamestitch is partnered with Heroes for Hard Times, or simply put, Heroes. Heroes is a non-profit organization meant to bring out the best in people and the best in gaming to support the noble cause of charity. By engaging in a pastime that so many people love, Heroes for Hard Times seeks to use the passion and energy gamers have to help build a better future for those who have fallen on hard times. Although the organization is based in Middle Tennessee, the ultimate goal and reach of Heroes is endless. Whether in our own communities or places we have never visited, human suffering knows no borders, and misfortune can befall any family in an instant. Through charitable donations, volunteer efforts, and the wonderful communities spanning across all games and platforms, Heroes for Hard Times seeks to alleviate human suffering and to build a better tomorrow for individuals and communities everywhere. Gamestitch is excited about this partnership and will have more details in the coming weeks. Welcome to episode 216 of the official Gamestitch Podcast. I'm Ryan Walton. As always, I'm joined by Matt Bowden.
Hey, thanks for having me.
And not as always, we're not joined by Dan Reamer.
Yeah.
If you tuned
Dan's not here.
Yeah, if you tuned into our live stream last night, we kind of told everybody Dan was going to be out. He's dealing with some family issues. He had a death in the family, so he's going to be touch and go for a little while. It did cause him to miss the Heroes for Hard Times live stream, so he's still going to play Life of the Black Tiger, which we talked about last week on the live stream. You guys were generous enough to pledge a donation to get him that game. He's still going to do that video. We're still going to put it up on YouTube. It's just a little delay, with something this significant happening. We just kind of had to push the timeline on that a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think there's any danger that we're not going to see that game happen. Because there's too many people on this side of the equation that are pushing for it also. I can't wait to watch that stream. I think it definitely would have been better for the Heroes for Hard Time stream, but we'll do it some other time and we'll make it count. And hopefully it'll be, once Dan gets everything sorted out on his end, we can just make it an immediate thing.
The game's going to be a real shit show.
Yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, it looks so bad. I've watched a couple more videos on it since we laid the plans down, but wow, it looks so bad.
I feel like it may be unplayable.
Yeah, I get that. It also might be a stroke of genius.
You think that there's a real prize in there, even though it sucks to look at and it looks clunky and terrible, there's a real story there?
Yeah, first off, I don't think it looks clunky and terrible. I think it is clunky and terrible. I think maybe there's an idea there, but I think maybe it's bad on purpose.
I don't know why it would be, but
because I'm starting to think it's one of those things that's so bad that you tell your friends they have to buy it.
All right.
Because it's that bad, and then you give them $10 every time that happens.
Mm-hmm.
The game couldn't have cost more than $70 to make. So he's only got to sell it to 6 more people to have cleared everything he's got in it.
Right.
So I think well on his way. Or her way. I don't know who made the game. Or his and her way.
Somebody that doesn't care about other people's feelings, that's for damn sure.
Or maybe they care too much, and that was their downfall. They wanted to give people too much of an experience.
All right, maybe. I doubt it, though.
So look forward to that. We'll, of course, keep you clued in as to when it's coming on our Twitter, @game_stitch. Make sure you follow us on there, and we'll let you know when the Life of Black Tiger is live. But we got to give Dan a little time to get through the important stuff.
Yeah. Heroes for Hard Times was fun. I had a good time doing that stream.
Yeah, we streamed for an hour last night. I think you can still see that on our Twitch page.
Yeah, we didn't play shit. We spent most of the time trying to figure out what we could play.
All right, played a little Tricky Towers, a little tabletop racing, and we concluded with a little Broforce, which was our best move.
Right, we probably should have started on Broforce.
Yeah, Broforce was fun. There were some fun moments in Broforce. Probably the most fun as far as moments, though, was Tabletop.
Yeah.
Tabletop had some real fun moments. Brief, though.
Yeah, Tabletop is a fun game, but you really have to have a room full of people to really enjoy it.
There's a couple times I pushed you off the track.
Yeah.
And it was the delight of my night.
Right. I thought about snapping my controller in half when it happened.
Especially the last time, because I sacrificed myself. If I miss the shot, I'm off the track and I finish last.
Right.
But it was so important to me that I try. And yeah, that game was fun. That stream was okay. Like you said, there's some ups and downs.
Yeah, it was all our fault. As far as just no preparedness. Well, because part of what happened was we weren't sure that you were going to be able to be on the stream. And then when you were on the stream, we just weren't prepared on what games to play. But we hope we played enough things to make it worthwhile for the 20 or so of you that were there to watch. And definitely thank you to everybody who did come to watch. Appreciate the support, and appreciate the support for Heroes for Hard Times for sure and what they're doing. So that GoFundMe is still up. If anybody is still wanting to contribute, it's gofundme.com/FHHT-Pirate Bob. We're just trying to do some good, taking donations for a little boy who had cancer, trying to help his family kind of get back on track with medical bills. He is cancer free, but the debt that they're left in from having to go through that and trying to they spent every dime they had to make sure that their son was going to make it, and he did. But now the community needs to come together and help them out to make sure that that the family's going to make it. So that's what that's all about. And you can check out Heroes for Hard Times on Facebook. They have a Facebook group under the same name, and they are on Twitter at Heroes, HEROS, 4 Hard Times.
Yeah, support them, support that cause. If you got a couple bucks, if not, then spread awareness. That's free, and it doesn't really take up any of your time.
Yeah.
A big shout out to Greg over there for trying to do some good and reaching out to us to get us involved, and it's been fun.
Yeah, big thanks to Greg for hosting us last night. Obviously, we're not professional streamers, like I said, but hopefully it was enjoyable. Hopefully, you guys got to see a little bit what it was like whenever we play games, and aren't doing the show. So,
if this is your first time joining us, hello, how are you? Have a seat. Take your pants off. Get comfortable.
Wow.
Get comfortable. I mean, that's how I get comfortable.
Okay.
Each week, well, most weeks, there's 3 of us here. We're best friends. We like to talk about video games. We like to wrap that up in the dumpster fire that is the official Gamestitch Podcast. If you're wondering why it's a dumpster fire, head back to episode 215, give that a listen. Then immediately jump right into that stream from last night. And that should answer all your questions.
It's just kind of how we do things.
Right. It's a fly by the seat of our pants operation. But we have some really honest and real and genuine moments. And those are hopefully why you keep coming back. It posts every Monday, 6 a.m. Central Standard Time on podcast services around the world. That's Stitcher, iTunes, SoundCloud, iHeart, TuneIn, Spreaker. If you can think of it, we're probably there. And if we're not, shoot us an email, podcast@gamestitch.com, and we'll get on there for you. If you want to support this show, head over to patreon.com/GameStitch. Toss us a couple bones on there. We got some rewards. We got some goals we're working towards. If you don't have 2 pennies to rub together, you should probably save a little better. Get a job.
Yeah.
Beg for money. Steal. Borrow.
Panhandle. Handle pans.
Yes, handle the pans. Mine for gold. I'm not against that. Go out there, get you a little pan, and just get you some dirt and see what happens. But if you don't have any money and you don't have a pan so you can get some gold, then this podcast is always going to be free. Nothing to worry about there. Faux free. Always.
Thank goodness.
24/7. Patreon.com/GameStitch. So this episode's going to be a little different. First, Dan's gone.
Not permanently,
No,
let's be clear.
He's gone this week. Maybe next week. We'll see how things shake out.
Yeah, he's just not here today.
The other reason it's going to be different is this is going to be a lot of reaction episode. We got a little bit of news to sprinkle in at the end, but I really just want to talk about the elephant in the room. The Nintendo Switch came out.
Yeah, it did.
It came out hard. It came out on Friday,
Okay.
March 3rd.
Yep.
You got one. I got one.
I got one.
Yeah, we've had some time. We've put our hands all over it. and I just kind of want to talk about your first impressions. I want to talk about how things have progressed since you kind of jumped in, and where you're at right now.
Okay. So, listening back to the show, you guys know I was a flip-flopper on the Switch. I pre-ordered one immediately, but I've talked shit about it since the announcement. I've not been confident that this would be a system that I would buy and enjoy and play. We can safely put that to bed.
Let's really talk through this. Let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Let's start with the packaging.
Okay. So, like, if I'm taking it out of the box right now, what were my thoughts? So I got more excited the closer we got to the release of the Switch.
Right.
So when I got it home, I was expecting to hate it because of how excited I was about it. So so the box is it's a console box. A lot of people are having an issue with when you... What? Go ahead.
Did you feel like it was small? Like, I knew how big the Switch was. I've seen people play it. The box seemed smaller than I expected.
No, the box seemed bigger than I expected.
Oh, that's wild. Yeah, when I was handed the box, I was like, huh. Like, it just didn't feel substantial.
It's about the size of a shoebox.
Maybe a small shoebox.
Yeah, it's a little bit thinner than it's like half the thickness of a shoebox, but it's about the same like width and height. So it felt bigger to me than it should have been, and it was hefty. Like, there was a lot of weight to it. I've seen a lot of reactions about the packaging, like how they actually put the Switch inside the box. I didn't feel that concerned with it, but when you open the flap for the first time, the tablet is like screen up to a piece of cardboard. Like, that's all that's keeping it from getting smashed. The Joy-Cons are right there too, but when you open it, they are the first thing you see. And my immediate thought was, those controllers are too small.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
So, yeah. I agree with you. I do like the presentation. I thought they were sunk down enough that it was probably fine.
Yeah, I think so.
But when you open it, you're right. It's a slap in the face. It's like, bam, here I am. Here's your Switch.
Right. It's not like you're opening it into like a piece of cardboard that everything's buried under. There's no instruction manuals on top. It is just the Switch. And she's raring to go. She had charge in the battery. I didn't find that out till later, but Nintendo made sure that all you really had to do was open the box, take the two controllers and the tablet out, and you could play.
I'm going to agree with you. The controllers were jarring to see them in person. They are tiny.
Yeah. Now, having some time on the console, I don't agree with my initial impression that the controller feels small, especially when attached to the system, especially when in the controller grip. When they're out, like, and sorry, I'm on video with Ryan here for everybody listening, but when they're out single in your hand, they do feel small, but they do feel comfortable.
Yeah, it's so small. That's disappearing in your hand right now for anyone everyone that can't see.
Your fingers sit right on the shoulder buttons.
They're
like that.
impossible to hit.
Yeah, but, I mean, mine sit right there like that, and one on the trigger.
But hold it sideways, though.
Oh, yeah, when you hold it sideways like you're playing an NES controller, this rascal is, like, my thumbs are touching.
Yeah, it is.
Like, there's about a centimeter between my two thumbs. So I'm starting to think that for games that require the controller to be this way, I need a different peripheral.
Now, have you thought about picking up a second set of Joy-Con?
No.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Yeah.
So I got the red and blue console, and one of the first things I noticed, besides how microscopic the controllers are, is how bright the colors are on these controllers. The red is so bright that it's almost neon pink.
Is that a deal breaker? Do you
no,
not like
I love
that?
it even more. And the blue,
I do like those colors. I wish they'd put two blue out. I saw Tim Geddes tweeted out his photo of his where he had the two blue on both sides of it. It looked amazing in blue.
Yeah, the blue is really cool.
But because I didn't get the console, I'm not going to go drop another $160 to have a color-coordinated blue Switch.
So what I was thinking is at any point I could always get the gray if it was too much for me. Because I knew that no matter what, they would always sell the gray. But I wanted the console that came with the red and blue, and I'm happy with that choice. I like to be able to distinguish the difference between the right and left easily without looking at where the analog stick placement is. Mm-hmm. So I've played it every way that you can play it as far as controllers go. I've played it on the tablet, which I do like. It's got a little weight to it, but not so much that it's too heavy to hold.
Yeah, the tablet feels pretty substantial.
I've played it in the grip, which is how I prefer it. I've also played it not in the grip like a psychopath where you're just holding each half.
Yeah, I tried that for about 2 seconds and did not continue.
Yeah, there are some buttons that are really hard to hit if you hold it that way, because what you don't realize is how often you actually stop gripping on one side to move. Mm-hmm. And you can't do that because you're holding it. So that to me was not feasible. I mean, you could play that way, but not for a long period of time, and I don't think in any kind of enjoyable way.
Mm-hmm. The plus and minus buttons I thought were gonna feel weird. They feel fine.
They do feel fine.
The screen share button feels fine. Clicking the stick down feels fine. The home button I'm in love with.
I think all the buttons feel really, really good on the thing, except for the top shoulder buttons, like not the bumpers. Yeah, the ones in the back, not the bumpers. The triggers.
Not the triggers. Oh, the triggers? You don't like the triggers?
The bumpers. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah, the bumpers are the ones, they've got about a 1/2 millimeter throw on them.
Yeah, they're so tiny.
They're so, like, my finger just rests on them. Like, when I'm playing with the console, my finger just it's on them. Like, there's no...
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah. But because I don't really find myself clicking them that often either, and I can use my finger like this, like the back of it to hit the bumper and the front of it to hit the trigger, and I find that works really well. That there's like 2 sections of my finger that can hit the trigger. This is very hard to describe on air, but the front of my finger can hit the trigger without touching the bumper, and the back of my finger towards the knuckle can hit the bumper without triggering the trigger. So I find that's actually nice to be able to use both shoulder buttons with one finger. With no analog to it, I'm worried that, like, if they ever put out a substantial racing game, that it's gonna not be fun. So I'll probably end up having to get a pro controller in that scenario.
So the other thing that just jumped out when you were holding that controller up is the release button to take the controllers out of anything. Yeah. They have snuck it up there by the trigger. Mm-hmm. I can't figure out how to hit that button and not hit at least 3 other buttons on the controller. No matter how I do it, I always press the top trigger, sometimes the bumper, sometimes the button on the front.
She's a little bit, because you got to get, so she's right by the trigger, mm-hmm. and the opposite side is the plus or minus button. So if the game's going, like when you grip it, you're also going to sync the controller by pressing 2 buttons at the same time, which is kind of weird.
So it doesn't harm anything. That little light does a Knight Rider thing and scrolls across,
which is really fun.
Yeah, but it's just I have noticed that I don't have a good way to take that off without pressing at least one other button.
Yeah, but I haven't found that to be a problem because I'm only connecting and disconnecting the Joy-Cons in between games, not while I'm playing. I think like one time while I was playing Zelda, I actually took them out and put them into the like I was going between the TV and the hand holding thing to see like exactly how quick that is. So when I docked it, I took the controllers out and I pressed a couple other buttons, but it really didn't matter. It wasn't.
Now, when it's docked, are you sliding the controllers on while it's still docked?
Yeah, so I normally have it with the controllers attached to the side of the tablet, so I will drop it in like that docked and then disconnect the controllers once it's safe.
See, I like to put the controllers back on it while it's docked. Just slide them in, feel that click, and then slide the whole unit out as one.
Yeah, I've now when I play from the couch, when I finish, I always take the 2 controllers and slide them back onto the tablet to make sure they're charging. But I haven't done the thing where you do the controllers down and then pick it back up.
Oh yeah,
you know?
That's what I'm doing. Yeah, it feels good.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet.
So let's go to the Switch itself, the tablet portion.
Yeah. Oh, can we talk about one more thing while we're on the controllers? The joysticks on the Joy-Cons, microscopic in how far you can move them, like in the 360-degree circle.
Yeah,
it's like Vita small.
But you know, when I felt it. You know, because that was one of the first things you said to me. When I felt it before turning it on, I was like, wow. But when I play it, it doesn't... I forget about it almost instantly.
I notice it on Zelda is where I see the biggest issue with the camera movement on the right stick. Normally, I play with camera sensitivity high. I have to put the camera sensitivity as low as it'll go on Zelda, and then I feel like it's moving normal because of how short the throw on the stick is. So that's another thing where I'm thinking as soon as they start releasing first-person shooters on this, like you're going to have to, like it's going to be very hard to play it with those little bitty sticks because there's not a lot of micro movement in them because of how short it is.
Yeah,
but I don't see me playing a lot of first-person shooters or anything on this either. So
I guess that part just isn't bothering me much. Now we'll get into Zelda and stuff in a minute, and how much we've played that.
Also, the D-pad, like the D-pad is 4 single buttons. I kind of like that.
I do not like that at all.
Oh, I'm in love with that.
But I feel like the
it a
buttons
lot.
click well. I just a Nintendo console without a D-pad is weird to me.
I like it. I have a good time with it.
So let's talk about the Switch.
Okay.
You're right. It's sitting in the box. It's small. I don't.
The tablet?
Yeah. Without the controllers on it, it is small. I don't know if you haven't watched videos or anything and you're not familiar with it. I think you're going to be surprised with how small it is. It's about 6 inches.
Yeah. But it's about the size I expected. Because anything bigger than this, and I don't want to pack it around with me. It's about the size of like one of the Samsung. The small Samsung Note tablets. I can't remember what the name on them is.
It's just a little bit bigger than a PSP or a Vita, excuse me. The Vita screen's about that wide, not quite that tall.
Yeah, I mean it's 8 inches corner to corner, I think. And it's probably 5 inches across, like top to bottom. It's like 9 to 10 inches. So I mean, it is what I would consider a small like e-reader size.
Yeah,
it's like the size of like a Kindle.
Yeah, it is,
which is perfect.
But I think that was one of the first things without the controllers attached to it. When you see it in the box, and there's a lot of space around it on the box, but it looked very small.
Yeah.
But when you flank it with those controllers,
she gets big.
The size is really, I think it's perfect.
Yeah, it really is, because it feels. You know what it feels like? It feels like a big Vita.
Yeah, it does feel like a big fat Vita.
Yeah, it feels like a fat freaking Vita. But any bigger than this, and I would not want to take it with me anywhere. Any bigger than this, and I would consider it a like home console only.
And the other thing I want to say, I just want to get this comment out there for everyone who talks about how much the Wii U failed. I will say that there's no Switch without the Wii U because you can feel it in its soul.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like the Wii U was their test for whether or not the Switch would be there. However, I feel like they should have just held off on the Wii U. That should have been a prototype internal, and they should have then put the Switch out.
Yeah, it's night and day different as far as functionality and just the overall feel of it. But you can feel it in the soul of the Switch. You can feel that Wii U, and the same way that you have experiences on and off the TV with the Wii U, you can just feel it in the Switch. And Nintendo definitely doubled down on this concept, but they not only they doubled down, I think they went all in.
Yeah, and it like accessibility, like while we're talking about the tablet, like getting the memory card in and out, getting the game in and out. So the headphone jack, the game insert, the power, and the volume are all across the top. The only thing on the bottom is the power, the USB-C power, and then behind the kickstand is where the memory card goes in.
Brilliant location for the memory card.
Super, super, super easy to access everything.
Now I want to comment on the buttons real quick.
Okay, go ahead. Like the rocker button for the volume and stuff?
So, let's start with the fact the power cord's on the bottom, meaning I can't charge it when it's kickstand.
Yeah, a little bit of an issue
That's
there.
an issue. The bigger issue is the volume is right next to the power button.
Yeah, but the volumes are raised and the power button is recessed, so I don't have an issue.
But when I get
finding
excited
it.
about pressing the volume up or down, I will just turn it off every time.
Gotcha. Now, I love that it constantly goes into sleep mode. I haven't found a way to power the thing down. When you turn it on, here's what I'm in love with. It gives you featured news up and down the side that you can read. And then there is an unlock sequence. It is just to press the same button 3 times. However, this is my favorite part of the Nintendo Switch. I don't know if you heard. Let's try it one more time.
I think it came through.
Yeah, I'm going to try it one more time because I like it so much. Oh, where is the speaker
This is
on
good,
this
it's
rascal?
good radio. I think it's on the top, actually.
I think it is too.
Yeah, you definitely heard it that time.
I love that. That's my favorite part.
So setup for the Switch is very simple. It took about 10 minutes.
The update wasn't huge. It didn't take long to update. It actually updated before I knew that it did, and the games installed mega fast. Zelda installed in about 2 seconds.
Yeah, it was very quick. You do have the option. You're prompted when you start. You can either be you can use like a character from a Nintendo franchise, or you can use your Mii, or you can create a new Mii. I did go ahead and create a new me, only because the me that I've always used is his face was skinnier than now.
Right.
So I felt like I needed to update the me a little bit. I didn't want to use just a standard character because I feel like that's what you're going to see everybody using.
Yeah, that's what I used.
Right.
I did build a new me. I was also very excited about the fact that even though friend codes are how you're supposed to add your friends, it can link up with other services like Miitomo and your 3DS. So you were already in my Miitomo friends list. Mm-hmm. So I didn't have to remember your friend code. I just sent you a friend request, and it was super easy, easier than I expected. But it's all superseded by the fact that you have to have had some other Nintendo service at some time to make that work that easy.
I'll tell you what I did is I accepted your friend request, and then I marked you as best friend. Don't know what that means.
I marked you as my best friend.
What does that do?
I don't know, but it put a little star by your name.
It did for me too. I was like, huh.
Yeah.
The cool thing is, and I guess it's cool because we've not experienced this, but I jumped on the other night to play Zelda, and it said you have one friend online.
I didn't see that.
And that's neat for a Nintendo system for me because I'm not
used to it.
Yeah, I mean, that just hasn't happened before. Every time I get on the play when you're on, it tells me that I have one friend online. It doesn't say who it is.
Yeah.
It just says I have one friend online, and I think that's cool because I'm just not... This thing needed trophies, and Nintendo messed up by not adding them, but this...
Yeah, I think we need to get there later because trophies are something I want to talk about.
But having a working friends list is going to go places, I think. It's going to help.
Yeah. And I also, having played this thing and seeing how mobile it... Like, how versatile it is from, like, docking it, undocking it, putting it in a controller, playing it through the TV... I 100% understand at this point why there is not going to be a voice, like a party chat, or why there's not going to be, like, why they need your phone to have an external app to run party chat services. And, like, I get it now. I still, in principle, think it's stupid, but I think I get it because you really can't have like a headset tethered to the dock and then undock it and have it work, and you also can't have a headset tethered to the console and like for the chat functionality to work in a scenario where you can move the system around a bunch. I'm sure that the thing would have had to, like, they would have had to put a lot more time and technology into it than they were willing to get it out on time at the price point they wanted.
Well, it's not a connected device.
Yeah,
and I think the freedom that affords you is more substantial than the downside to not having something like party chat.
Right. But as long as the app later has party chat, fine.
And they're circumventing the problem of it not being connected by the fact that your phone is always connected.
Right.
So if you're playing that and you're like, shit, I got to go grab the bus, we don't have to stop playing.
Yeah.
You just get your stuff together, walk to the bus, and then when you're on, we're right back in the game.
Right.
And well, I guess that wouldn't, as long as your bus had some sort of Wi-Fi.
Yeah, well, but I mean, you could hotspot off your phone.
You could hotspot off your phone, yeah.
So it really, this really is the ultimate, and I'm not a handheld gamer, and I can't stop playing this thing in handheld mode. I hate handheld gaming. I tried the 3DS, I tried the 2DS, I tried the Vita. Handheld gaming has never clicked with me ever because it always feels like less game, right? Handheld gaming to me always feels like I got the Wii version of NBA, That's how I equate handheld gaming. This is not that. This is a full console that you can pick up and take with you. Brilliant.
The screen looks awesome. I have not had any slowdown when playing in handheld mode. You even said that you thought your experience was better in handheld mode.
Yeah, I have a better time in handheld mode. I did see some frame drops on Zelda when it was running through the television. But nothing to make me stop playing the game. But if it were a multiplayer experience, that would be an issue. But on a game like Zelda, it really doesn't matter. It probably dipped down to like 24 at one point when there's a lot happening on the screen. If you trigger a big explosion and there's a lot of grass and like a lot of things are happening, you'll get some slowdown. But nothing that draws you out of the experience of playing Zelda. Handheld mode 100% is the way to play this, though. I think that's the way.
See, I've mostly played on the TV and I've not experienced any major issues. I haven't been a part of any huge battles. So the dock itself is a piece of plastic. But it's a very well-designed piece of plastic. for a couple of different reasons. First off, there's a flap that hides the wires, and also keeps
easily the coolest part.
It's awesome. It's just a little trap door that keeps everything kind of straight coming out of the system, and it's awesome. The other thing is that you could put this thing in with your eyes closed and still have it go in right.
I thought it was on magnets the first couple of times I put it in. It was so smooth.
There's some sort of black magic inside there making that thing go where it's supposed to, because there's nothing making it go where it's supposed to.
Yeah, like it should be a pain in the ass. It should be like when those old iPod docks, because the USB-C sticks up, and you should be having to like worry about smashing and breaking that thing when you put the console in. But there are these two little knobs right beside it. Whatever they're doing, it docks seamlessly with no pressure on top. Like when you drop it, you just hear a little, and it's there.
It's super simple. Like one time I set it in and it didn't charge, and I gave it just a little tap on the side and it just started charging. I'm like, no way it plugged up.
Yeah.
No way it went in, because there's literally no force. Like it is super bizarre. And that dock feels great. It's not sliding against the screen. Like there's no. It goes in smooth and it comes out smooth.
I agree.
I love that feature, and for everybody who's like, does it really switch over that quick? It does.
It does. It's like 2 seconds. Yeah. Like when you put it in, your TV has to register that you've plugged something up to the HDMI port, and it's on, and the game is running. Like it doesn't like pause or go to the sleep menu or home screen. You have to unlock it. Like you put it in, you pick the fucking controller up, you play the game. It
doesn't even pause. It is where you were. If you were mid-run in a game that lets you keep going for a second, you put that in, you would still be running.
Yeah, like if you held the Joy-Con, like if you held the analog stick forward, like you would still be running. Yeah. It is, so if everybody can remember the magic that was suspending a game on your PlayStation 4 the first time, you press the home button, you go out, you scroll through your shit, and you press it again, and you go back into your PS4 game. It's like that. On a different level. It's like that though. It's that same magical feeling of like, why couldn't I always do this? You know? Yeah, and the Switch has one of those feelings.
And it's that quick when you take it back out also.
Yes, it is. It's actually quicker, faster on the way back out. Yeah, on the way out it's faster, because by the time that you've picked the console up and like oriented your hands on it, the game is running and you've put a fingerprint on the screen. I would like to squash the kickstand rumor that it's bad.
I think the kickstand is hard to get out. It doesn't feel as flimsy as people were going on and on about.
The kickstand is a breeze to get out.
I had trouble with getting it out.
I can just do it with the fat of my finger. Just lift her up, and then you just pull it till it snaps.
See, I only get mine out with my fingernail. It will not come out with my finger.
See, mine uses the fat, and like everything on this console, there's an audible click.
Yeah, everything does make a click or a snap,
so that you know that it's in place. And as small as that is, I mean, it's like maybe a 30-degree angle. At a foot or more, it's perfect to play it in kickstand mode. I have played it in kickstand mode 2 nights in a row now. I put it on my side table, and then I lay in bed and hang out and play the Switch. It's fantastic.
Last night was really the first night that I had done any substantial kickstand play. I also bought the Hori aftermarket stand so that it lets you charge it while you play, and I used that last night.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm wild about the angle that puts it at. That puts it at an angle that's much better for you to be above it. If you are going to sit eye level with it, I think the kickstand that's built in is better.
Yeah, I love that kickstand.
So I was laying in bed while I was playing it, and something eye level I think would have felt better because the Hori is kind of raised up and angled. But if you were ever sitting where it was below you, the Hori one is going to be great for that. And it gives you 4 different angle settings, but even the first one still got a tilt to it. It's just a piece of plastic, more or less. It's got a little flap that holds it, and it's like $12, but I do like that stand a whole lot because it does afford you the ability to charge it while you play it in kickstand mode.
Right. Battery life. How have you been doing?
I haven't played it handheld a whole lot. I've not gotten anywhere near running down my Joy-Con yet.
Yeah. So I've had the Joy-Cons both down to 50%, and I've had the console almost dead. But here's how much I played the console to get it to that point. With the Joy-Cons connected in handheld mode, I played it on launch day from noon, like I would say on and off, an hour at a time, and then put it to sleep and then turn it back on. I would say I played it for right around 4 hours, and then put it on the nightstand, put it in sleep mode, got up the next day and played for another hour before I needed to charge the console, and that only took the Joy-Cons down to about 50%. So part of that is I turned the brightness settings down. Part of that is I never put the volume above 50%. So the console's not putting out its maximum amount of juice, but at settings that are comfortable for me, I got about 5 hours of game time in Legend of Zelda without having to recharge the console, which is fantastic.
I've been playing a lot with headphones on, and I like that. That seems to help a little bit with the battery also. Mm-hmm. But yeah, battery's not been an issue, but I've also not pushed kind of what the Switch does and the constantly going and grabbing and playing. And, you know, I'm playing in the dock during the day, and I'm playing kind of, you know, in bed at night. Last night was the first time I kickstand. I've been playing just full portable mode on my back, holding it in front of me.
Yeah.
And that's working out really well. Like, I'm comfortable. I'm kind of sitting up a little bit, but I'm still laying down. And like I said, the weight is fine. It's not that heavy. Yeah. And it looks great on that screen. It sounds great. You know, like you said, you can make the volume low and still hear it.
Yeah.
It's a damn good system.
Yeah, it's not a PS4 or Xbox One killer, but it's not supposed to be. And so if you listen back, a lot of what my argument against the Switch always was it should compete with the PS4 and the Xbox One. It shouldn't. It doesn't have to. It's not. Ryan has been right about this the whole time. The Switch is its own thing for better. It's not a for better or worse. Like, this is a different... It is a full-fledged gaming console. It doesn't feel like I've bought something lesser, but it satisfies a different gaming need that I have, which is I don't always want to play the PS4. I don't always want to come in here and turn on my monitors and worry about my controllers being charged. I don't always want to be connected to everybody for party chat. Sometimes, like, I really do want to play in bed or on the couch, or I want to. It's a different experience that PlayStation 4 and Xbox One can't satisfy. I think a lot of gamers didn't know that they were missing.
You get it almost instantly too. Like when, or at least I did when I took it out. I put the controllers in. I turned it on. As soon as I got into Zelda, like as soon as I turned it on, I got into Zelda, and then I got up and I put it in the dock. I was like, I get it. Like, yeah. I get. And I think everyone else is going to get it when they do that too. Yeah. Like, my aha moment for it was the first time. So when I turned it on, I played it in handheld mode the first time to get everything set up. Mm-hmm. And then I put the kickstand on and put the controllers into the grip, which is a great way to play, by the way. You don't need the Pro Controller. The grip feels fine. But I played it in kickstand mode the first time I played Zelda. Like, got through, like, when I started Zelda, I was in kickstand mode. That was my, like, I get it. Like, I understand why this thing's important now. Yeah, the first time, I also set mine up in portable mode, and when I slid it in the dock, and I slid those controllers off, and I slid them in the grip, and I never paused the game, I never stopped playing, and I was like, I get what this is, and I get why it's special. Now this isn't over. Like, they haven't done it. You know, it's support games that come out, third parties. The Nindies that were showed off, obviously that shows me that there is faith in this system. Yeah. But they have positioned themselves to be able to succeed, and if you spend the $300 and you get it out and you turn it on, I think you get it. And
and I got that Mario 64 feeling with Zelda.
It's not a PS4. It's not an Xbox One. If you have to decide between the three, don't buy this.
You know what though? If you have to decide between the three, man, I believe in the Switch.
I don't think it's going to give you, if you're a gamer, if you're a guy that or a lady that plays games and has grown up playing games, I don't think it's going to give you what it needs in the games that come out for it.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna like PS4 and Xbox One. That's where you're gonna play Overwatch, and that's where you're gonna play No Man's Sky, Doom, and Horizon, and that's where you're gonna get those games. But once the game library builds on the Switch, I think you really have a console that you have to like right now you buy a PS4. There's no doubt in my mind if you don't have one of these 3 consoles, you buy a PS4. But in 6 months, when there's games on the Switch, when it's got 30 games deep, I think it's a tough decision.
I still look at this the same way, as it's a complementary system. I think what makes it so special for me is that other itch is already scratched.
Sure.
If you have an Xbox One and you're like, should I get a PS4 or a Switch? You should get a Switch. If you have a PS4 and you're saying, should I get an Xbox One or a Switch? You should get a Switch. Like, it is perfect for that.
Yeah.
Because it fits a need that those other systems just cannot. They don't have Nintendo games, and they don't have the functionality that the Switch does.
If you have a PS4 and an Xbox One, you're double buying games, or you're trying to decide whether or not you need to buy Overwatch here or Overwatch there, or you've got a lot of like stepping on each other's toes there. I dropped way more money on Switch games than I thought I was going to, just because I'm not stepping on the toes of my PS4. Even though I got I Am Setsuna on Switch, and I know I can get it on PS4, I'm actually enjoying it on the Switch because I can play it for 25 minutes and turn it off when I'm tired of it.
Right.
It's really... It is a magical system that I didn't have enough faith in before, and I don't think I can praise it enough at this point. This system will not fail. This system will succeed 100%. This is Nintendo going forward. Nintendo, with this console, has, I think, rectified what they are. They've
definitely positioned themselves. Like I said, they've got to get third party on board. They lost third party altogether with the Wii U. They have to get that going, and if they do, they're going to have to really try hard to fuck it up if they get third party going, because the system is doing, like you said, for all its shortcomings that everybody has pointed out, it doesn't matter when you turn it on and play it.
Yeah. The left Joy-Con desyncs constantly for me. I will put myself in an uncomfortable position to keep playing because I'm having such a good time.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's system specific or something in your house interfering. That's not a problem I've had yet.
Yeah, I think it's more of the way I have it set up.
Right. So, I've had really no issues with the thing. My biggest complaint about the system in general is that the charge port's on the bottom, and if that's the biggest problem I have with it, like, we're doing okay so far.
Right, because, I've had bigger complaints about more expensive systems before.
Right. So that's kind of what's in the box. We just cover what's in the box. Doesn't come with any games.
Which is a mistake.
The eShop, it is a mistake. The eShop is going. There's about, 8 or 9.
There's 9 games.
Yeah, 9 games
There's
on there.
9 games. 2 of them are the same game.
There is, 6 or 7 retail?
I think there's, 2 retail.
Not total, box you can go pick up. You got Bomberman, Zelda.
That's it, man.
No, Just Dance, 1-2 Switch.
Oh, yeah.
So there's, I think,
that's
4 retail. Skylander's supposed to be out there somewhere. I didn't see that in the wild.
I don't see it anywhere.
Yeah.
But I'm not interested in it, so I don't care.
Yeah, me either. But as I went around looking for a Pro Controller, which I was not able to secure, and we'll talk about accessories in a minute.
Right.
I also looked to see what they had retail, and I did not see anywhere that had Skylander. So I don't know if we just got some bad info or if that got pushed and we didn't see it, but I didn't see that anywhere.
Yeah. So here's what's available on the eShop, and these games are also I'll let you know which ones are retail. So Zelda, which is retail, Bomberman, which is retail, 1-2 Switch, which is retail, Just Dance 2017, which is retail, and then you have Fast RMX, Snipper Clips, and I Am Setsuna that are all digital, and then you have Shovel Knight for $9.99, and then you have Shovel Knight with all the DLC for $25. So that's the library right now. That's what you can get. I own 3 out of this bunch, and I feel like I probably might buy Shovel Knight also.
Shovel Knight's great, and I think this would be a good system to play it on too.
Yeah.
So I picked up Zelda retail, and I wanted the cart. I wanted the full experience. I wanted to open the case. They're really thin PSP cases.
Yeah.
They feel good.
The games are super thick.
The games are they're fat. I don't know about yours, but if you shake it, it's got makes a little noise.
Haven't tried it.
Yeah, give it a shake. Makes a little noise, like something's just sliding around, just a little bit.
Okay.
But I feel like The 2 games I got,
Oh yeah,
you get a little shake. Yeah, a little shake.
You probably hear that on the
just a little
podcast,
shake.
maybe.
So I picked up a Zelda retail, and I picked up Snipper Clips, which is one that we had talked about a lot. Drastically different game. Snipper Clips is a puzzle game. Zelda is fucking Zelda on crack.
Are you sad that Snipper Clips doesn't have online?
No. Our plan had always been to play it together, but that's what we get for doing absolutely no homework.
Yeah.
And just assuming that a game that comes out in 2017 would let you play online together. Right. Snipper Clips is great. I would love to play it with you because I think we would have the same sort of idea. But I'm not sad about it because it's still a fantastic game.
I almost want to grab Bomberman just so that we do have something multi-P.
I really do want to grab Bomberman. The price is not right for that game. $50 is too expensive.
Yeah, $50 is a lot. Now, here's something that the Nintendo's doing great is most of these games have demos that you can just go ahead and start playing. But man, Bomberman does up to 8 players online. That's one of the only multiplayer games for this.
Does it have a demo?
It doesn't. Bomberman does not have a demo.
Of course it doesn't, because that would make my mind up.
Right. I don't know, man. Like it's screaming at me, but I don't know if that's because it's all that there is, or if that's because I actually want to play it.
Bomberman's great, and I think it would be wait for it, a blast.
Oh Jesus Christ!
I'm not going to spend $50 on it.
I agree,
and they're not going to drop the price right now because there's 5 games to buy for it, and people are going to buy it.
Yeah.
So for Bomberman, was it Type R?
Yeah, Bomberman R.
Bomberman R. I'm gonna wait. I want this game, but I'm going to wait. I think we can find it in 6 months at a cheap price, and it'll still be fun. If it's fun now, it'll still be fun then.
Yeah. I'm also in love with the news. So I love using this thing in tablet mode. I'm actually using it in tablet mode as we do the podcast. The news is great. They tell you about games that are coming up and updates. Like they did a really cool community connectivity thing that PlayStation and Xbox don't do. Where they're kind of advertising games in a way that makes it feel less like it's in your face and more like a separate news feed. It's separate from the store. The store has its own thing, and then there's the news feed for what's coming up, which is great. What else, man? What else can we say about this thing that's not...
I want to talk about accessories for a second.
Yeah, go for it.
I picked up a case. It's like the Traveler's case or something, $39. It pretty much fits the entire system, dock and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I picked it up. I wasn't sure about it. It's kind of big. I mean, it's like a big lunchbox.
Right.
It's hard, but it's not hard. You know, it's one of those hard fabric things where they clearly have like cardboard in between it. Mm-hmm. I love it. It's got little notches for the joysticks, even though it doesn't go down that far in the off chance that something happened. Everything fits snugly in there. Nothing rattles, nothing moves. The only complaint I have is that, and I don't know how you fix this, but the system itself, it goes right up front.
Mm-hmm.
So if you pick it up and carry it by its handle, the system is on the bottom, screen down, which is a little odd, but it really can't hit anything. I mean, it is well protected. There's foam inside there holding it. Even if it did hit something, the foam would absorb it. I really like this case. I like how substantial it is. I've got my PSVR case sitting right on top of it. I'm not just leaving the switch in the dock. I'm not that guy.
Right.
I pop in the dock, let it charge, pull it out, put it in that case, and that's how I'm putting it up at night. Because I'm taking it into the bedroom like a briefcase.
Wow.
Yep. And I'm popping it open.
A little overprotective.
Yeah, I'm popping. That's what I do. I'm popping it open, and then I'm playing it, putting it back in the case, going to bed. It's the reason that my Switch will look brand new in 10 years.
That's true.
I'm babying it.
I'm using mine the way that Nintendo intended me to, which is to have it out all the time,
which is where
enjoy the hell out of it.
Right. This is where you have to buy a new one in a 1.5-year model.
Well, I keep it in the danger zone. Also, it's not expensive, so the only thing that would really keep me from buying another one in a year is the fact that they're not readily available. I
mean, $300 is a substantial amount of money.
You know what, though? I don't feel like it's too much that I can't buy two. Where a PlayStation at $250, like, I still have that, like, I'm apprehensive about dropping money on another PlayStation 4. I would buy another Switch in a heartbeat.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's a good system, and you could kickstart. I mean, you could kickstand them together and play against each other. Yeah. Which is kind of neat. You'd have to buy 2 copies of everything, though, so that gets expensive really quick. So I bought the $39.99 case. 2 screen protectors are ordered, $10 for those.
Yeah, you'll need a extra USB-C cable because the one that comes for the power is hardwired in to the wall wart, which is the worst designed wall wart I've ever seen in my entire life.
Now, I haven't picked up the second cable yet. That's still something I got to get.
Like $7 on Amazon, you can get a USB-C cable with it. Or actually, Newegg. For anybody listening, Newegg has the best deal on USB-C cables. They're metal braided on the wire, so you don't have to worry about snapping the wire off. And it's $6.49. I think it came to $7 whenever I was done.
Now, how does that work? Are you just plugging that in any adapter?
Well, so my understanding is that this uses a normal 5-volt adapter. That's something I'll have to research a little bit more. But my battery supports like my portable battery, which is a 28,000 milliamp hour, supports like every possible voltage rating. So like 5, 12, 10, and 24, I think. So I can plug it into that and be fine.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm concerned about. Is I'm afraid I'm gonna let everybody else do the legwork on that.
My worry is the wall wart that is needed to charge it. I don't know if that is a 24, a 5, a 12. I don't know what voltage that is, but once I figure that out, I'm going to buy like a single space to plug this USB-C cable into because the one that comes with the console is garbage.
Yeah, it's big for sure. And
the cable's nice and fat and braided, and you know it's not going to like kink and break the cable inside, but the wall wart itself is oriented the wrong way, which makes it hard to find a spot for it on a power strip that, you know, doesn't eat up 2 or 3 spots.
Right.
So
the screen protectors, and then the last thing I picked up was that little stand for $12.
Right. I bought a case, which is on its way. I got the so RDS has one that Nintendo, I guess, like it's an officially licensed product, but it's the same thing like you're talking about. It's basically the miniature version of what you're talking about. It doesn't carry the dock and the whole console, but it does have a spot to put both Joy-Cons on the side and the tablet in the middle, and then it has a fat foam screen that comes down, or a fat foam pocket that comes down over the top of the screen where you can store your games, and then the top part of it has enough room to put your headphones and your USB cable in, and then when you zip it all up, it's like a hard shell, like a hard soft shell case, because I was looking for something more that fits into my backpack. I carry a backpack with me every day, so I wanted something that fits in right beside my portable battery and my grip it full of my stuff that I carry. So that seems to be the best option.
Yeah, the case I have certainly would not fit in a backpack.
Yeah, I don't have to carry something separate. I want it all in one bag.
But it's substantial and allows you to take everything with you. And my thought is that I don't want to carry the dock, but I do want to carry a Pro controller probably.
Right.
So when I get that, I want to be able to have the ability to slide that in there.
Right, I understand that.
So I think, just to sum it up, I think we both really like the Switch. I think we like what it's doing. I think this is a good course. It's a great launch, and I think they just have to stick with it. They need to not make these hard to get. Don't do the Nintendo thing.
I don't think it's so bad if they make the console hard to get. It's the accessories.
There's no reason to make the console hard to get. It's good. Don't hide it.
Yeah.
Like, let people go buy it.
The games and the accessories need to be there. Like, there shouldn't be an issue with finding the Pro Controller and finding the cases.
Yeah,
and
I went to
the console, like
4 stores for Pro Controller, and you went to how many stores for a case?
Like 6, and then ended up having to go to Amazon anyway.
Right, and I never found the Pro Controller.
I get it. If they want to release the console in waves, that's fine. I don't think there's been a console launch in the past 10 years that didn't come out in waves, so that's fine. But they need to, like, be short waves. Like, hey, here's 200,000. Here's 200,000.
And it looks like a lot of stores got restocks over the weekend already.
Right, which is great.
Yeah.
Kudos to Nintendo for finally getting their head out of their ass on
they
that.
need to make this available. People need to be able to buy this because it's a good system.
Yeah.
The games I have seen everywhere. So the games don't seem to be in shortage, but the controllers are out almost everywhere you go. Even weird stuff, like there are stores sold out of Joy-Con already.
Right, which is really weird. Like, maybe Nintendo didn't expect that people would want to buy all the extra controllers. I don't know.
Yeah, it is very strange, but we like the system. We could talk about it for another 2 hours, but we got to move on.
Yeah.
If you have individual questions about the Switch, make sure you hit us up on Twitter at @game_stitch, and we'll answer those either on Twitter or on next week's podcast, depending on how good they are.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's if you know a buddy with it, go check it out. If you don't, and you have the money, I think you're fine to go ahead and buy it.
I feel like there's something that I'm forgetting that I really wanted to touch on with Switch, but honestly, I don't know. I'm pumped about the system. I want everybody to have one.
So let's talk about Zelda. How long have you played Zelda?
Long enough to get down off the plateau where you start. So I would say 4 hours, 6 hours, somewhere in that neighborhood.
So I've probably played it for 3 hours, but I'm not really doing what I'm supposed to do. And here's the reason why: because I'm still playing Horizon.
Right.
And these two games
are almost the same.
They
game.
should not be played at the same time.
Yeah.
They scratch the same itch. So when you switch from one to the other, you're like, damn, I've done this all day.
Yeah, it's too much open world.
Yeah, so
I agree.
I have decided to keep my focus on Horizon. I am still playing Zelda, but I'm basically just grinding and running around killing stuff, collecting stuff. I'm trying to do everything I can to not progress the story. Because my brain just can't handle anymore. Because I've got 27,000 side quests going in Horizon right now.
Yeah.
And I just can't. I can't have any more happening. So I'm not really jumping into Zelda. And that's the reason why. It's not because I don't want to. It's because I feel like I'm... And I want to transition over to Horizon. I fucking love Horizon. And as time goes on, I love this game even more. And I know that you have not played it much since you got your Switch.
Right, but I did put quite a bit of time. I think I hit level 16 before the Switch came out, so I did put a lot of time into it in the first 2 days. Horizon is a game. That's how I feel about it right now.
I love Horizon, and I still, and in all honesty, even with a brand new system, Horizon is what I'm thinking about playing all the time. Right now, I'm not thinking about going to play my Switch, and it's because I haven't invested in Zelda yet. But I'm thinking about going and playing Horizon. I played Horizon this morning before the podcast. I mean, I love that. I genuinely love that game, and I love what it's doing. I love the way that the side quests work, the way that they're, even though they're simple little stuff, like so far they've made them all so different enough that I don't care. I love overriding machines and fucking riding them and calling for them and fighting sawtooths when I feel like there's no way to win. And I really genuinely love that game. I climbed up on the back of a long neck. I don't know if you've done that yet, Matt.
Yeah, that's majestic.
Yeah, that is an experience. When you're up on the head of it and you're just looking out and you feel every step that it takes.
Yeah, and that world is gigantic.
It is so big, and it's not an empty world. There's stuff everywhere, whether it's wildlife or machines or other people. It's a living, breathing world, and it feels good and real. And
one of the biggest accomplishments of that game is it's not like a quest here and then 2.5 miles of empty space. That game has everything, every step of the way is in place. But so I got really excited about Horizon based on the reviews the week before, and that's why I ultimately bought the game. I do not agree with the praise that this game is getting, and I don't mean to smash it. The more that I play the game, the more that I'm finding out that it's a unique experience. But so some of the reviews that I heard were, this is PlayStation's best game, second only to The Last of Us, and this is PlayStation 4's flagship title, and if you need a game to buy and you don't have one on PS4, you get Horizon. I don't agree with that. Horizon definitely doesn't fall anywhere close to the category of greatest games of all time for me. Is it one of the best open world games I've ever played? It's up there. I would say so. I would say if you're talking about open world only games, it's a great title. If you're talking about games that make the PlayStation, it's not that. It's a good game. It has a story, but the acting is very Skyrim. It's very stiff animations. It's very bad voice acting. It does that thing where you don't care about the characters, and when I started hearing some of these reviews and hearing how some people felt about it, and they're comparing it to The Last of Us as far as quality, I thought that every character that came along, whether they were substantial or not, I would give a shit, quest characters wouldn't be there just to hand out a quest and give a reward at the end. They wouldn't be things that, you're just passing by. But that's what this is. Like, a lot of the characters that you meet in side quests or that you meet on quests, they're just passerby characters. They have their dialogue, and you go on. You don't give a shit about them ever. And that's disappointing because I feel like a game this big, the world feels fleshed out. Everything feels huge except for the character experience, except for the story. The story, I don't care. The action is what's fun. And I don't know, I'm sure you don't feel this way about it. I'm sure a lot of people don't, but it feels like a game that's, like 75% done, because that last 25% of building up the world's there, but the characters don't feel like they're a huge part of it. Like, that takes me out of it a little bit.
Yeah, I almost 100% disagree.
Yeah.
There some of the side quest characters are kind of throwaway characters, but that's because there's literally hundreds of people. And I don't think they had a way. It doesn't feel anything like Skyrim to me, in that I never could get engaged in Skyrim. And I do think it's a flagship PS4 game, because I honestly can't wait to go play it. And it's been a long time since I felt that way about anything on PS4 other than Rocket League, and maybe Stardew. I really just feel like I need to play that game, and I need to see what's next. I'm very engaged in the story. I really want to know, where it's going and what is the bigger story here, and just the way I could just stand in that world and watch and be totally content. Just riding.
Yeah, the world's great. I agree. The animals are cool. The world's great. It's just the characters I don't care.
Yeah, and I think the voice acting's good, especially Aloy.
Aloy's great. Yeah,
I really, really like this game, and I recommend it to almost anyone. I think if you spend $60 here, you won't be disappointed. Mm-hmm. And I agree with the praise. I love this game, and I'm super, super happy with the purchase. Like I said, I have a brand new console, and right now my focus is on playing this still. And I have played it every single day since I bought the game. And even more telling, I've only played Rocket League twice since buying it.
Yeah, you turned down Rocket League like 3 days in a row.
Yeah, I mean, I really love Horizon, and I'm playing it very slow, and I'm picking up every fucking route that I walk by. I've probably got more time in it than you do now, and I just clicked over to level 14 this morning. Because I'm playing it slow, I don't kill everything. I kind of, if I can avoid conflict, I will, especially with a Sawtooth. I've killed probably 10 Sawtooths now. I hate them.
Yeah.
They love to kill me, and I don't love that. And it's all in how you play. The different strategies. I love to tie them down and then kind of roll back, hit them with fire. They continue to burn after you hit them. You have to look at their weaknesses. But yeah, I love Horizon, and we're going to probably stop talking about it so much now that we're kind of getting away from the launch. But I just wanted to kind of recap, where we were after 2 weeks in and the Switch being here, and I still would recommend that game to anybody with a PS4. I think it's that good.
Did we get a chance to talk about Horizon, or had it not come out yet?
No, I think we talked about it.
Gotcha.
Early impressions, I think we talked about on the live show.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't want my opinions on it to make it sound like I don't enjoy the game or like it's a bad game. It's the only game I've played on PS4 for quite some time at this point, pretty much since it came out. I just don't find myself craving it the way that you do. But Zelda it's the same game, and I find myself more intrigued by that one. So I'm sure that as Horizon. So what does intrigue me about Horizon is I keep hearing about how big of a swerve that story is. Like, it's a unique story, and right now it doesn't feel that way. Right now I feel like the story's predictable. So as I play, if it turns out that story is as unique as people say it is, like, my impressions after I finish the game may change the way I felt about it entirely. So my opinions are only of what I've played thus far, not of the entire game.
Yeah, we'll check in a little while. Like, those two games are very hard to play together. So you've kind of switched to Zelda, and I've stayed at Horizon, and I think it kind of has to be that way, in that you have to play one and play the other one very, very sparingly, because playing on both will probably make them both less of an experience.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the rest of the news. Most of this isn't a big deal, but this first story is pretty massive. Microsoft announced Xbox Game Pass, a Netflix-like service for Xbox One that'll give you access to a library of over 100 games for Xbox One and 360, and it's going to be $9.99 a month. I think it's $9.99 a month and $4.99 if you're already a gold member.
Yeah, something to that effect, I guess.
Unlike PlayStation Now, you're not streaming these titles; they are full downloads to your system. So if it's up there, you download it, you have it, you can play it offline, you can play it online, you have the full game. These games are going to rotate out monthly. You're probably not going to see like a whole library reset, but like Netflix, there'll be some titles leaving, some titles joining. And a lot of that just kind of boils down to how long third parties want to keep them on, and how long they, they're comfortable giving those games away, more or less. So your Xbox stuff will probably stay the course, and you'll see third parties cycle in and out, but this is a brilliant idea that Phil Spencer says they've been working on for 3 to 4 years, but it just took a long time to get all this dialed out because they did not want to make it a streaming service. And, they're taking shots at Sony when they say that.
Sure, yeah.
And I think it's something that we've talked about before, but when you're streaming a game, you're constantly is this frame rate right? Is this how it's supposed to run? Even if it is.
Yeah.
That's a thought you have because you're streaming a game. And this avoids all that. You can just enjoy the games with this. It's super smart, and you got to wonder if that's why Sony got rid of all the systems that can't play PS4 games on PlayStation Now. If it's because they're going to finally open up PS4 games on PlayStation Now and try to compete with this service. But
I assume so.
Yeah, I mean that was as soon as this was announced, it made Sony's decision make more sense to me.
Yeah.
But Microsoft has made big moves. They cost themselves a ton of money when they opened up Xbox 360 games. And they did that for the consumer to add value to their system. And again, by doing this, they potentially cost themselves more money because people are going to wait to buy games because they know that they're going to hit this. If you play 2 games a year on this, 2 full games a year on this, you probably paid for the service.
Right, which is always, that was where we always were with when it came to PlayStation Plus, or not PlayStation Plus, sorry, PlayStation Now. We always said, if it costs $200 a year, it pays for itself if you play 4 games on it, four full release games. And so I think our expectations for PlayStation Now are finally, I think Sony's about to catch up with what they had promised. They're finally going to deliver on that. I hate that it's a reaction to Microsoft, but that's definitely what I see happening also. And
it's probably a timing thing, just like Microsoft's been working on this for 2 years. Probably not a reaction. It's probably just that everything takes so fucking long. And Unfortunately, Microsoft got finished first.
Well, it's also that thing, we always say this, you'll hear us say this periodically throughout our history of podcasts and going forward still. If you think that people at Microsoft and Sony aren't fucking friends on conference calls, you're dumb. So it probably isn't 100% coincidence that these things are happening at the same time. I'm sure this was discussed between the two.
They know what's happening.
Oh yeah, there are people on both sides of that table that are talking about stuff like this. Like, hey, do you think that this is going to kill us if we launch at the same time? And they've probably got some analytics guy that works for both of them saying, advising them on that. And I don't think at all that this is a, it's not a coincidence. It's just it played out for both of them that it will work out okay.
And even if Sony's not planning to bring PS4 games to PlayStation Now, it was a brilliant move to kill off those other platforms. Because you assume they're going to. Right. So somehow it makes Microsoft's news not as bad as a PlayStation user and not as, we're going to do it too, at least is what you're telling yourself right now. And by the time that you realize that maybe they're not doing it, it's not going to matter. You're going to be so far removed.
That it won't matter.
So, but I think this is a great opportunity for Microsoft to add even more value to the Xbox One. And it's a legitimate system, like it really is. There's nothing wrong with right now going to buy an Xbox One. Yeah. It is a very good system, and these things continue to make it better. The only reason you might want to wait is because Scorpio potentially around the corner.
Yeah, we're probably going to hear about that in about 3 months' time.
Yeah.
So,
Microsoft shifted their E3 to the morning, which we talked about, getting off that Monday block and shifting to a Sunday block.
Yeah, which means that they're going first, so they got something big.
So in the past, you always had Microsoft, you had Ubisoft, a couple other people, then you had Sony. So at best, Microsoft had a couple hours before the news got dominated by Sony. That's just how the time slot has always worked out.
Yeah.
Now Microsoft is separating themselves, giving themselves a day. And there's also a lot of chatter that you may see the Scorpio in an event before E3 so that they can get all that out there so that they can just focus on what's coming for these systems.
Right.
And they don't...
You think you might see like an independent style console announcement and then nothing but games and demos at E3?
Yeah, like the way the PlayStation 4 was announced. I could see them doing a short little hour-long Meet the Scorpio. Phil Spencer spoke a little bit about the Scorpio and what's going on with it. He says he can't wait for everybody to see it, which tells me that it's a thing you can see, which is good at this point because it needs to be.
Right.
But he is very careful to say it is a premium console, and it's going to come with a premium price tag.
Yeah. So, in my mind, Scorpio is more along the lines of a gaming PC. I don't know how true that is, but I have high hopes for the Scorpio, not because I'm an Xbox fanatic, not because I am already buying into it, but for what I hope it can do for the industry. The modular console that we've been screaming about for, since the PS4 was announced, I'm hoping that the Scorpio is that it is the bridge between the PC world and the console world, and that it's a modular console, and the idea that it is a premium priced console gives me hope that it is something that like you can buy an HTC Vive and hook up to it, or you can buy an Oculus and like you can use one of these PC level 3D peripherals and hook up to what you would consider to be a home console. That's where my brain goes with this, is that they're really trying to bridge that gap. I don't know if that's what the plan is, but that's what I'm really hoping for.
Yeah, it's hard to say, and as time gets closer, I'm sure everybody's going to get more and more excited about this, but I would say brace yourself, because there's a reason that he says premium price tag everywhere he goes.
Oh yeah, $7.99.
There's a reason he says it's a premium console everywhere he goes. That is to prepare you, because you should not be shocked when he comes out and says, this thing's $700, this thing's $600. Like, it's very expensive. But it's not for everyone. It is for the people who demand the very best. And I think that's okay. I think this thing should also have an Elite controller with it.
Like it should come in the box with an
Elite controller. That is the kind of system that this is.
Yeah. But like sticker shock, I'm not going to be surprised when they say $7.99 on this.
Yeah, it's going to be expensive. And I think Sony should have done the same thing with the Pro. I love that they got the price down on the Pro, but it should have come with some sort of controller to compete with the Elite.
The Pro just isn't it's not a different console. The Pro is a PS4 with an upgraded GPU, where I think the Scorpio,
it's a new system.
They've already said that the Scorpio and the Xbox One, the games aren't interchangeable. So it's its own baby.
Yeah.
And so I expect...
Yeah, they're dividing the market. I don't know if it's a good move. We'll wait and see when the Scorpio comes out. Microsoft's making very good moves right now, and I doubt that they're going to fuck it up with this. So, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, E3 is going to be plump with content from all devs, I'm sure, and all first parties. Nintendo is going to probably really roll out the plan for the Switch. Sure. Everyone was super upset with the way the Switch was unveiled. You're probably going to get a Nintendo Direct that really gives you a roadmap for the next 6 to 12 months for the Switch. It's probably going to be full of all the things that you love, like Animal Crossing and Mario Kart. Probably some of the titles, or Mario Kart will be out at that point, but Odyssey. And it's probably going to give you a look at some of the games that you're wondering about. Pikmin, is that coming? Of course it is. What's the first Mario Party look like? Because the Switch will be great for that. It's going to give you a look at those things that you see on every Nintendo hand or platform and what they look like. Hopefully they'll roll out a plan on, Super Mario Run. I don't know why that's not available at launch. It should have been ready. So I think you'll get a really good look at that. Obviously, the Scorpio is going to dominate headlines, and then Sony probably is going to do what Sony has done for the last 3 years and just hammer you with exclusives and games and content, and it's probably going to be very VR heavy. It's probably going to be very first-party heavy, and it's probably going to have Call of Duty on stage.
I hope it is VR heavy.
So here's one thing I want to say about the VR. I don't talk about it as much anymore, and I know it's because there's not real conversation to be had about it because no one else has one. I went through the library of games available. There is a ton of content for the VR. Like there's probably 30 games available for PSVR. And that's a massive library. Like, you're not going to buy all of those.
Right.
And they continue to churn 1 or 2 games out every single week for VR. And
there's just not that gotta go buy VR to play this game. Like, that doesn't exist.
And they've already announced it is above pace from where they thought it was going to be. It is sold right under 1 million units. And a lot of that's just due to the fact that you still can't get them. And they gave themselves, I want to think, 18 months to get to 1 million units.
Something like that.
So they are ahead of pace. And honestly, if they were in the wild right now, they'd be over that mark. So about like 1 out of 55 PS4 owners has a VR, which is not bad.
Yeah.
You know, there are a ton of PS4s out there, so it's really not bad. I think they got to figure out how to get the price down a little bit, and they have to find that. Like, the PSVR should probably ship with Resident Evil.
Yeah, I think that the penetration problem is 100% in the price and not in the content. I don't think the content's the big issue. I think the price is a little bit shocking to get started. It's still, $500.
Yeah, I mean, if it's $100 cheaper, you would have had one already.
If it didn't cost, you can buy a PS4 for $250 right now.
Right.
Like, the PSVR can't cost more than the console, and I think that's the mistake they made.
But they got to get it packed in with a title that I've heard everyone who's played Resident Evil start to finish, and that is like, it will change how you feel about VR. Like, right. They have to get a game like that in VR with it. They have to. Right, because you have to feel that value when you put it on, and I've played a lot in mine, and I love it, but I don't know that I've played that experience yet. That is like, everyone should own one of these. Like, right now, I feel like people that get it, that don't mind supporting the first generation of it, should own it. I don't know that everybody should own it right now.
When I bought Resident Evil 7, I immediately got the itch to play VR. Like, I really wanted to experience that in VR. That's the title that made me want to, but when I finally found one, the price was still so high that it was just, that's too much of an investment. I can buy another console. I bought my Switch instead. Like, there's just,
everyone I know that's played Resident Evil said, like, absolutely worth the price of the game and the price of VR.
Yeah,
but that is a hard message to send. If you make that game free and pack it in, I think the value is there. It makes the game free. It makes the system cheaper by looking at it that way. And I think you start getting some buy-in with people, because that is the kind of experience that people are going to demand out of PlayStation VR.
Sure,
and I think that's fair for what it costs. The early adopters are paying the price so that other people can get into this later on, and I'm fine with that. I love PlayStation VR, and I know a lot of people are shitting on that there's nothing to play for it, but to me, those are the people that don't have PSVR, because go to the PlayStation Store, click on the library, and scroll through all the shit that exists for VR.
Yeah, there are a ton of games on VR. The content I don't think that's the issue. And anybody that says it is, they're just ignorant. They're not paying attention.
Yeah, there's a ton of content.
Yeah, the content's great. So I think it's just the price point.
Let's keep this train heading down the tracks. For some time, we've known about a sequel to Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor, obviously with a success both monetarily and critically. There was no doubt a sequel was coming. Well, thanks to International Target, some crazy country's Target, they posted the image early with a description of the game, and then I immediately took that shit down. But the internet, it was too late. Right. So Warner went ahead and announced the next game, which is Middle-earth: Shadow of War.
Right, which, to my understanding, is going to be the very first Scorpio launch title.
Could be.
100% is. I'm pretty sure Phil Spencer announced it. That it will be. But
I think it's also coming for non-Scorpio.
It is. Yeah, it's coming for Xbox One and PS4 also.
Yeah.
But there's something special about it for Scorpio. I can't remember what the report was, but that's the first title for Scorpio.
Yeah, I haven't seen that, but yeah, I mean, that game is going to build upon what the first game did. I was one of those people that said you're going to see this You're going to see the whatchamacallit system. What's it?
Yeah, the thing where like the warlords.
Yeah, I forget the name of that.
Remember you and stuff. Yeah, there was a cool system that they had for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you were going to see that everywhere, and you didn't. But I think this game is going to build upon that. It's going to expand upon that. And as long as they don't abandon the formula that made the first game so successful, this game will also be successful.
Yeah, Horizon would have been a great title for that. It needs that level of, like, remember me characters.
What is that called?
I don't remember.
I need to know it. The Nemesis system.
Nemesis system, yeah.
They have a collector's edition, and then they have some sort of ultra collector's edition that's $300.
Sounds like some bullshit.
So if you're all in on this game, you can spend all you want getting it,
right.
Or you can just buy a Switch for that fucking price.
Right, buy a Switch. It's way better.
After a lot of teases, Blizzard officially announced the next Overwatch hero, Orisa.
Yeah.
You got any feelings about that yet?
Very necessary character. I think there's a lot of belly aching that there wasn't another character in a different class. Orisa, if you haven't read the reports, is a tank, but she is a Reinhardt style tank. They call them anchors. The game needed more of that because Reinhardt is pretty much the only character that fills that gap, and Orisa is going to be a more mobile, more attacky style anchor, which the game needs. I'm excited. I will probably never play because I play harass characters and not tanks. Crowd control is definitely where I'm at, but I can't wait. I can't wait to play as Orisa for a couple of matches. I can't wait to see how that changes the dynamic of the game. I think Blizzard does this great thing with Overwatch of knowing what's necessary for their game to keep people interested and to keep that community alive. And they're doing a great job at it already, and then with this character too. So I'm pumped. I can't. The more characters, the better in that game.
Right. Yeah, I agree, because it's going to switch up. Even if you're not playing as her, it's going to switch up what you're seeing in competition and the moves that you make consequently.
Right. Exactly. It changes the dynamic of everything to put a new character in. So
and like you said, Blizzard does that better than anyone.
For sure.
We finally got a look at Borderlands 3, but maybe not in the way people had hoped. They showed it off at GDC as a tech demo.
Yeah.
Which, we've known for a while that Gearbox is working on Borderlands 3, because why wouldn't they? But I guess to finally see a living, breathing, this game is going to come out at some point, even if it's a tech demo now, is enough to get the internet excited. And I'm not a Borderlands guy, but I certainly understand the appeal of Borderlands.
Yeah, I love Borderlands even though I don't play it, because I like what it does for gaming, for gamers, for multiplayer. Destiny wouldn't exist. Well, I can't say wouldn't exist, but I think Destiny got a lot of its success from the success of Borderlands.
It wouldn't be what it is now without that influence.
I think Destiny would have. Yeah, I think the influence of Borderlands is seen in a lot of games. Mm-hmm. I think the way that they handled questing, the way they handled multiplayer environment. That game innovated a lot of things for this current generation of consoles, and innovative game series, you can't have enough of them. So games like Shadow of Mordor, games like Borderlands, like, keep them coming. Sequels all day long.
Also,
because they're doing new stuff.
Also, Gearbox needs a safe move right now because Battleborn shit the bed.
Yeah, well, here's Battleborn and Paragon both shit the bed because they launched at the same time as Overwatch, and
right.
Just like everything, there can be only one.
And I will say, at least Paragon was trying. Paragon was way more of a MOBA.
Right.
Battleborn tried to go heads up with Overwatch, and they were outmatched in every aspect. And Gearbox needs a safe win, and that safe win is and will always be Borderlands for them.
Yeah, 100%.
So look forward to that. But again, they showed it off as a tech demo, so that should tell you it's pretty far. It's pretty far away. That pretty much wraps it up. Like I said, I wanted to be really Horizon and Switch focused, but it's not every day that you got a new console launch.
Yeah. I wish we had 4 hours to talk about the Switch. I can't say enough good things about it.
Right. Again, if you have questions for us, hit us up on Twitter at @game_stitch. I am at Podcast Ryan. Matt is at Goddammit Matt, and Dan is at Shirtless Dan. Don't ask Dan Switch questions, though. He won't know.
Yeah.
He'll probably say something derogatory back to you. So you want to stay away from Switch questions when you're going to Dan. You can also email us, podcast@gamestitch.com, and get a hold of us that way if 140 characters isn't enough for you. So make sure that you get those out there to us, and if we don't know, we can certainly find out, as long as it's not a question about Bomberman, because I'm not spending $50.
Right.
Not going to do it.
I'll wait. $29.99 they got me. $49.99 no thanks.
$20 I'll buy it today. I would have bought it today if it was... Yesterday we would have played Bomberman together if it was $20.
Right. I mean, I'll buy it for $29. For $30 I'll buy it.
Check out our YouTube channel. All of our podcasts are up there. Subscribe to us on there. We're working through our back catalog, which was our Patreon goal that we reached thanks to you guys. Big shout out to everyone over there who supported the dumpster fire. Patreon.com/Gamestitch. And check out those videos, or just tell your friends about them so we can get some views on those and keep making content on there. When and if we do live stream, it's on twitch.tv/Gamestitch. If you follow us on there, make sure you got your settings set for reminder, and you'll know every time we go live, because we don't know we're going live. So
it's always a surprise.
That's the best way for you to know we're going to be live. Follow us on Twitter @game_stitch, and follow us on Twitch, and you should have a pretty good idea of when we're going to be there.
For sure.
There's a lot of like Twitch, Switch, Gamestitch. There's a lot of...
Yeah, there really is.
Right. We were on that market before it was hot. But it's everywhere right now. So I feel pretty confident I'm going to mess those up in the future somewhere.
Right.
I think that's it. It's been a good episode. We missed Dan. Hope all's going well there.
Yeah, we miss you, Dan.
But I think we got a lot of info out there for you to make an informed decision on the Switch or on Horizon. And obviously, as games roll out for the Switch, we'll have a lot more to talk about. But we don't want to overwhelm you, so we're trying to get it all out today. Dan not being here, we didn't get any of those outside questions that someone who didn't buy one might have had.
Right.
So like I said, if we left something out, and I'm positive that we did, make sure you hit us up. You have anything else?
Nope, that's all.
All right, episode 216 in the books. Make sure you head over to iTunes and review this show. It really, really helps. It helps other people find it. The more people who review this show, the higher we move up in the standings in the easy to find category. And that means you get more of a community, which means we more game giveaways like we did on our live stream episode 215, and just grows the community and makes us a badass place to be. So please tell your friends about that. Rate us on iTunes, and just keep spreading the word like you guys do.
For sure.
Good night. You want to give the random sports team some sort of shout out?
There's no sports that I care about right now.
NASCAR's alive and well.
Go NASCAR.
Oh, all of NASCAR.
Did you see the finish to the 500?
Yeah.
Man, that was wild.
Everybody wrecked everybody constantly that entire race.
They sure did.
Good night, folks.
Good night.